absolutely huge. So, continuing with our Goodwood Festival of Speed 2021 driver interviews, we've got one of our longest serving members, Steve Mitchell. Steve, welcome.
Hi.
Good to be back, isn't it?
It is. It's yes, been very good to come back now after 2 years away, really, or 1 year away. It almost feels like we haven't been away, but I don't know where the time's gone, in all honesty.
I know, it's exactly the same as, but we've been out there, had a look, some really serious competition. Now, I think it's fair to say, Steve, you have a tremendous history in off-road. You go back quite a way, not only in the sport, but also at Goodwood, one of the originals.
Yeah, I mean, I first became interested in comp safaris with a friend of mine. His father was racing back in the late 1970s, really, and he got me into it, so it's his fault. And it's gone from there, so from the age of sort of 15, 16, 17 onwards, Worlwide Drive Club in particular has been a big part of my life. When I could afford it, and I still can't afford it having said that, but when I had some money, I built my first race car and wasn't overly successful. Foolishly, I entered the Bovington 150 as my first event.
Great event.
The really, really wet one, and did about 2 laps, and that was it really. That was my introduction into safari racing. It didn't put me off, so 35, 36 years later.
With a bit of off-roading going on behind us as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, in that time you've not only been involved in the sport itself, but also on the organising side, ComSec, all that side of thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's club life is very difficult. Somebody's got to do it, and there's not enough people willing to put their hand up. Say I was competition secretary for the best part of 10 years. Yeah. Very enjoyable, actually, very rewarding, actually, putting events on and helping people out and finding sites, which is the biggest challenge I think everybody's got in any form of motorsport at the moment. Availability of land is an issue, and I think it'll get a greater issue as time goes by.
Your main job, of course, farming, and that surely that gives you a really good insight into reading the land, because off-road very much about reading the land, not just where it's 10 feet away from you, but what it's going to do, because obviously you can tell because you've been farming.
It is surprising the number of people over the years, both male and female, who actively are involved in either trialling or in comp safaris, who are from an agricultural background or from a horsey background. And I think it does, having the ability to look at ground and be able to read it, whether you're on a horse or whether you're in a comp safari car or whatever, it definitely helps you. And I think being from an agricultural background does give you that insight into what's wet and what's dry, what's lying potentially over the blind crest where the sheep have been lying. So it's you do tend
where
to
the sheep's been lying. See, who else would know that?
Yeah.
That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now the other thing as well is you're not. I think again it'd be fair to say you're probably not the fastest out there. You've got a very capable car.
Far from the fastest, really.
Very capable car, very capable driver as well. But there's one thing about your driving which is absolute consistency, and that in off-road is actually one of the key features, I think, isn't it?
I think it is. You've got to, as the saying goes, to finish first you've got to finish. I've never finished first, I hasten to add. But
you're top three, plenty of top threes.
You've got to be able to pace yourself. It's no good putting on 1 or 2 fast laps and then not backing it up and breaking the car or whatever. And ultimately, I suppose it also depends what you want out of the sport. I mean, I just tend to go wanting a day out. I don't like spannering, so I don't really want to break it every run and end up spannering it between runs. So if I can nurse a car around and be fairly competitive, have a good time, that's what it's about for me. And that's more clubman level motorsport. You know, it's as soon as you start trying to go fast all the time, everywhere, it gets very hard on the kit and quite intensive on your wallet as well. Being a farmer, I'm a bit careful.
You do put in some very, very good times, Steve, that is to be fair. But like you say, it's well judged, consistent. So shootout Sunday. And again, that's one of those ones where you see the red mist rising, you cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, the first Goodwood event I came to here, it was all about trying to put on a show, and there were only 5 or 6 of us here. And I did almost end over in the car playing the silly buggers, and I can still remember doing it, and it does tend to quieten you down, really. Putting a show on for a crowd is good, but red mist and bravado do tend to rule the brain a little bit. Yeah.
Keep it cool. Well, you and the Mattserati are a well-known pairing here at Goodwood. It'd be a joy to see you out there again, finally.
Yes.
After 2 years out, isn't it?
Yes, it's great to be back. It really is.
Brilliant. Yeah. Steve Mitchell, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Diana.
We'll see you out on
Thank
course.
you. We will. Thank you.
as fast as possible.
Yeah, it was interesting earlier today, Jim. He was going round at a moderate speed. I suppose he was going.
So Steve this time then makes no mistake. But he will always be in the top, running up there, ready to jump in quick, given half a chance.
Well, in most of our championship events, in fact all our championship events, it's a war of attrition, so you get
Absolutely.
typically 10 runs of a 5-mile course. It's not all about around a short course as quick as you can. It's about on the time schedule of the runs. That's where Steve scores, because that car's reliable and he's a consistent driver.
Exactly. And with off-road, it's one of the key factors. When you use the word attrition, it's one we hear quite often. And you get some events, attrition really high. And you get those drivers that know that. They know the cost of taking out the meeting, and they'll just perform that'll do. Wonderful. He's in touch, as we've always said. Always just in touch. Very, very steady.
Yeah, but then he could accelerate hard down into the bottom corner, which arguably is quicker than pattering about on the runs left track.
Soon find out.
It could make a difference on the course here of 5, 6, maybe 7 seconds per lap. The fact that you've got a sequential box as opposed to an edge pattern.
And here he comes in, coming 220.
Another lightweight